in this conversation, I would love to learn more about gene therapy for hemophilia B and what that journey has been for you. So could you just start by saying where is hemophilia B in your family, or is this something you struggle with? What's your relationship to it?
I have two different stories essentially. I'm the CEO of the organization that, administered the first gene therapy commercially, but I'm also the father of a child with, he's not a child anymore, but a young adult with hemophilia B.
How long ago did he receive this treatment, and is it still really effective for him today?
Yeah, so he received it last June. So we're coming up on a year since his infusion. His levels have been increasing steadily, and he is at 42% at current time. So
Okay. Wow.
very, very effective. And I mean, lasting at least a year so far, or almost a year.
Gene therapy didn't exist for very long before that, right? Like, this is a
Correct.
fairly new thing. So were you timid about trying something different? What were some of your concerns? Like, what was leading up to making that decision? What were some of the things going through your mind?
So as far as that, I mean, he is an adult and he can make his own decisions. I had my hesitations with new therapies. The way he came at it was he wanted to be the first so that he could lead this for other individuals, which was very admirable. And I was very proud of him for it. But it was scary and nerve-wracking as a parent, just because there's such limited data out there in regards to what's going to happen. Where is he going to be in the next couple of years?
Right. Absolutely. So you say he was the first. He was the first to receive this gene therapy treatment?
Commercially, yes. There
Okay.
were studies that have been done with individuals that had received the gene therapy, but he was the first in the country to receive it commercially through a hemophilia treatment center.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that would be nerve-wracking. I think I would be nervous too. So you said this was primarily his decision. What conversations did you maybe have with him leading up to it?
The possibilities that came out of it were just living a life more quote unquote normal than having to do prophylaxis every week. Something that, he had anxiety over, and it was stressful for him to do his infusions.
What are maybe some other ways that you kind of saw things change for him before getting the therapy to after?
His overall demeanor as an individual and a young adult, that was transformational, just in his being of receiving this gene therapy. It changed his whole demeanor in life, and just it created a very positive outlook for him.
I love that you keep really reinforcing how this was very much his decision as an adult, because as we know, changing from that transition of being a child to a young adult is a big deal. So part of me feels like I should be asking him these questions instead of you relaying it as dad.
I was wondering how I was going to go with that, because he is the adult and he is able to make those decisions. But there's definitely a piece of raising a child with hemophilia, and that attachment and that closeness that you develop throughout the years, from traumatic events to acute issues, and just everything you go through a hemophilia treatment center and beyond. You just develop a really close relationship with your child, and very, it's hard to let go. But the reality is he's a grown man, and you have to support his decisions in life. He was the one that went through it, and he wanted to take that step into the future.
We began this conversation talking about how your son was really kind of leading the charge and saying, I want to do this, and you were a little bit more hesitant. So what is it at the point right now that if you are making this decision, you'd feel more comfortable with it? Or do you feel like there's still more work to be done before kind of that big risk period is kind of past? Does that make sense?
So I think knowing what I know today and seeing the success and the results of gene therapy and the administration of, and seeing that it's really not as big of a deal to receive the infusion as we all were very concerned about in the beginning. I would make the decision to allow him to do it if it were an option.